In July 1909, a ship called the SS Waratah sailed out of Durban harbor and simply never arrived. Not a distress signal, not a lifeboat, not a single body. 211 people were there one moment, gone the next. No wreck has ever been conclusively found. The ocean gave nothing back. And more than a century later, nobody can fully explain why. Today, we follow the Waratah from the moment she was built to the moment she ceased to exist. We'll ask why one nervous passenger stepped off and may have saved his own life. We'll look at the ocean she was crossing and whether it can swallow a vessel whole without leaving a trace. And we'll ask the question that still haunts historians. If she went down, where on earth did she go? The Waratah was built in 1908 for the Blue Anchor Line, a commercial workhorse designed to carry passengers and cargo between Europe and Australia. She was large, modern for her time, built for the rigors of a global route. On paper, she was exactly the kind of vessel that should have made many uneventful voyages. When she set out on her second voyage, she carried 211 souls, passengers crossing continents, crew doing their jobs, a floating community trusting the ship beneath their feet. For most of them, it was supposed to be routine. The crossing had been done hundreds of times before. There was no particular reason for alarm. In late July 1909, the Waratah left Durban, heading southwest toward Cape Town, the last confirmed point of contact with any other vessel. She was crossing a stretch of South African coastline sailors called the Wild Coast. Not a romantic name, a warning. Deep ocean currents collide with shallow coastal shelves there, and the weather can turn in hours. But here is where the story gets genuinely strange. Before the Waratah left Durban, one passenger made a decision that would define his legacy forever. Claude Sawyer got off the ship. He had sailed the previous leg and grown deeply uneasy about how she handled in heavy seas. She rolled in a way that unsettled him, felt unstable. His premonition was strong enough that he simply refused to continue. Sawyer testified at the British Board of Trade inquiry that followed, describing his concerns about the ship's stability in specific, clear terms. Investigators took him seriously, and you have to wonder, what does it feel like to be that man? To know you were right, but to know that 210 other people stayed on board when you walked away. Sawyer was not the only witness. After the Waratah went missing, the captain of a nearby vessel, the SS Harlow, reported seeing a distant ship emitting excessive smoke, then two bright flashes. Not one, two. The kind of flashes that suggest something catastrophic. Whether that was the Waratah, nobody could definitively confirm. But the timing and location matched. Now think about the waters she was crossing. The stretch between Durban and Cape Town is monitored today for rogue waves, single walls of water that can form without warning, sometimes reaching heights that dwarf a large ship. These are not legend. They are documented, measured, verified by modern instruments. One leading theory is that the Waratah encountered exactly this. But a rogue wave is not the only explanation, and this one is more quietly disturbing. The Waratah was carrying approximately 1,000 tons of lead and 300 tons of lead ore concentrate. In heavy seas, dense bulk cargo can shift position, throwing off a ship's center of gravity. If that cargo moved suddenly and dramatically, she could have rolled and gone under in minutes. The British Board of Trade inquiry examined both possibilities: the ship's design, her cargo, her behavior in heavy weather, testimony from earlier passengers. Their conclusion was that she most likely sank in a severe storm, but they could not determine the exact cause. The inquiry ended with questions, not answers. Then the searches began. Ships went out and combed the coastline between Durban and Cape Town. They found nothing. No wreckage, no life preservers, no floating cargo, no bodies. For a ship carrying over 200 people and thousands of tons of material, the silence was absolute. The ocean had apparently consumed every trace. Here's where the story takes a turn that changes how you think about it. For decades, searchers assumed the wreck simply hadn't been found yet. Then sonar technology made deeper, systematic searches possible off the South African coast. Possible contacts were identified. Expeditions mounted. Researchers dove with modern equipment. And what they conclusively failed to confirm made the mystery stranger, not simpler. Some sonar anomalies matched the rough dimensions of a large steamship. Expeditions investigated them, but none produced definitive confirmation that the wreck was the Waratah. Strong currents, low visibility, and more than a century of sediment all work against identification. The Waratah, if she is down there, has not given herself up. Consider the scale of what a disappearance like this actually means. The Waratah was not a small boat. She was a major commercial steamship on one of the world's busiest shipping routes. The idea that something that size, along with everyone on it, could cease to exist without a trace stretches the imagination. Which is exactly why this case has never stopped being discussed. The Waratah is often called Australia's Titanic, and the comparison is useful up to a point. Both were large passenger ships lost in the same era. But the Titanic left wreckage, lifeboats, bodies, and survivors who told the story. The Waratah left nothing. No one on board when she sailed from Durban ever spoke another word. That silence is a different kind of tragedy. Think about Claude Sawyer one more time. He walked off that ship because something felt wrong, because the way it moved in the water told him what no formal inspection had flagged. And he was right. Whether it was a rogue wave, a catastrophic cargo shift, an explosion, or some combination, the ocean amplified past survival. The ship he stepped away from was doomed. The Waratah sailed into one of the most dangerous stretches of water on Earth, and the ocean simply kept her. What she met out there, whether physics, weather, or some brutal combination of both, happened fast enough that no signal was ever sent. 211 people. No message, no debris, no explanation that closes the case completely. Just open water and silence that has lasted over 100 years. Here is what stays with me. The ocean is 3 times larger than all the land on Earth combined, and we have explored less of its floor than we have of the surface of the moon. The Waratah is probably down there somewhere. We just haven't been able to prove it. And until we do, she remains one of maritime history's most complete mysteries. A ship that left port, met the sea, and vanished as though she had never existed at all. If you find yourself drawn to stories like this, places where history runs out of answers, there's more waiting for you here. I'll see you in the next one.